Your dog is still there. Same place, same body, same eyes, but something feels missing, and the most dangerous thought slowly enters your mind. Why is my dog suddenly quiet? This question doesn't come from curiosity. It comes from fear. Because deep down, you already know dogs don't become quiet for no reason. Dogs don't hide emotions the way humans do. They don't pretend everything is okay. So when a dog goes silent, it is not peace. It is communication. But the problem is, most people don't know how to listen. At first, you try to convince yourself it's nothing serious. Maybe he's just tired. Maybe he's growing up. Maybe today is just one of those days. You still fill his bowl, still open the door, still call his name, but his response is delayed or missing. His eyes don't sparkle the same way. His body feels heavier when he walks. His presence feels distant, and that silence slowly starts screaming inside your head. Dogs are wired to survive. In the wild, showing weakness meant death. So even today, deep inside, your dog carries the same instinct. Hide pain, hide fear, stay quiet. This is why silence is never random. When a dog suddenly becomes quiet, it usually means one of three things is happening. His body is hurting, his mind is overwhelmed, or his trust has been shaken. And sometimes, it's all three at once. Let's talk about the body first. Pain in dogs rarely looks dramatic. No loud crying, no obvious wounds. Instead, pain whispers. A stiff walk in the morning, a longer pause before jumping, a sigh when lying down, and silence. Internal pain, especially stomach discomfort, is one of the biggest reasons dogs become unusually quiet. Digestive pain doesn't always cause vomiting or diarrhea. Sometimes it just causes discomfort that drains energy. Your dog may feel pressure in his belly, nausea without vomiting, tightness that makes movement and quiet becomes a shield. But physical pain is only half the story. Because dogs don't just feel with their bodies. They feel with their hearts. Dogs are emotional mirrors. They absorb tone, energy, tension. If something in the environment changed, a new routine, a loud argument, a soudaine absence, your dog noticed, even if you didn't. Stress in dogs doesn't look like panic attacks. It looks like withdrawal, less movement, less reaction, less sound. The dog isn't being good. He is overwhelmed, and silence becomes his coping mechanism. There's another reason silence hurts so much. Because you remember how he used to be. You remember the way he followed you everywhere. The excitement over simple things. The comfort he gave without asking. So when he goes quiet, it feels personal. Like you lost something without knowing when it disappeared. And that guilt starts creeping in. Did I miss something? Did I do something wrong? Was I too busy? These thoughts don't come from logic. They come from love. Dogs don't understand schedules. They understand presence. If your dog suddenly feels less connected, it doesn't mean you failed him. It means he's asking for attention in the only way he knows. By going quiet. Silence is not absence. Silence is a message. And in many cases, it is the last gentle warning before symptoms become obvious. But here is the hardest truth. Most people notice silence only after it has lasted too long. Because we are trained to react to noise, not to quiet. A barking dog gets attention. A whining dog gets concern. A silent dog gets ignored. And that is where real damage begins. The silence didn't disappear overnight. In fact, it became more noticeable. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Your dog is still quiet, still slower, still watching you more than reacting to you. And now a new fear replaces confusion. Welcome to the part most people never talk about. Because this is where the truth gets uncomfortable. Silence is rarely the beginning. It is the middle. By the time a dog becomes quiet, something has already been going on inside him. Sometimes for days, sometimes for weeks. Dogs don't wake up one morning and decide to change their personality. They change because something forces them to. And the most dangerous thing about that force is this. Back-end index pointing right, it often leaves no visible marks. Let's start with the medical reasons people overlook. When most owners think of illness, they imagine extremes. Vomiting, bleeding, limping, crying. But dogs experience many conditions that don't scream. They drain. Low-grade internal pain is one of the biggest silence makers. A mild stomach inflammation, gas trapped in the gut, early digestive imbalance. None of these shut a dog down completely. They just make life uncomfortable. So your dog adapts. He eats slower, moves less, lies down more, and talks less. One of the most ignored causes of sudden quietness is chronic discomfort. Not sharp pain, not emergency pain, the kind that whispers all day long. It tells your dog, don't jump, don't play, don't make noise, because noise requires energy, and energy hurts. This is why some dogs become quiet but still wag their tail. A confusing signal that tricks owners into thinking everything is okay. But tail wagging doesn't always mean happiness. Sometimes it just means recognition. Now let's talk about stress, the invisible weight. Dogs are extremely sensitive to emotional shifts. A new schedule, a change in sleeping place, a new person in the house, a person leaving, even things you consider small, can feel huge to them. Stress doesn't always explode outward. In many dogs, it collapses inward. Instead of barking more, they bark less. Instead of demanding attention, they retreat. There's a psychological state in dogs that looks like calm from the outside, but feels like shut down on the inside. This happens when a dog feels confused, overstimulated, or emotionally unsafe. So he conserves himself. He observes instead of reacts. He waits instead of engages. And slowly, his personality dims. Another uncomfortable truth. Dogs can feel neglect even when they're loved. Not intentional neglect, not cruel neglect, but emotional absence. Being physically present but mentally elsewhere. Being busy, being tired, being distracted. Dogs don't understand reasons. They understand patterns. If connection decreases suddenly, your dog feels it immediately. And instead of protesting, some dogs go silent, because silence feels safer than rejection. There's also something many owners don't realize. Dogs feel guilt, not the human kind, but a social imbalance. If your dog was recently scolded, corrected harshly, or felt he did something wrong, it could shut him down temporarily. Especially sensitive dogs. They don't argue. They don't rebel. They withdraw. If it was pain, he would show it. But dogs don't show weakness easily. By the time crying happens, the condition is already escalated. Silence is the earliest alarm. Another hidden cause that often gets missed is routine imbalance. Dogs thrive on predictability. Feeding time change, walk time change, sleep time change. These shifts affect their nervous system, especially older dogs or emotionally bonded dogs. They may not protest. They internalize. And internalization looks like quietness. You may notice something else too. Your dog is watching you more. Not playfully, not excitedly, just watching. That's not nothing. That's monitoring. He's trying to understand what changed and whether it's safe to be himself again. Here's a difficult question most owners avoid. Has your dog lost something emotionally? A companion, a routine, a version of you? Dogs grieve quietly. They don't cry loudly. They don't ask questions. They slow down. They soften. They go silent. And that grief often gets misread as maturity or calmness. Silence can also come from exhaustion. Not physical exhaustion, emotional exhaustion. Constant stimulation. Too much noise. Too many commands. Too many expectations. Some dogs shut down instead of acting out. They don't misbehave. They disappear into themselves. At this stage, your role becomes critical, because silence left unchecked doesn't stay silent. It turns into chronic anxiety, physical illness, behavioral shutdown, and eventually, detachment. The bond weakens not because love disappeared, but because communication failed. But here's the good news. Silence is reversible if you catch it early. And that's what part 3 is about. In the final part, we will talk about how to read your dog's silence correctly, the exact steps to rebuild connection without pressure, when silence means vet visit now, not later, and how to bring your dog back to himself gently, because your dog is not broken. Silence is patient. It waits. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't demand attention. That's why it's dangerous. Because by the time most people react, the silence has already settled deep inside the dog, into his habits, his nervous system, his sense of safety. But here's the truth that matters most. Silence is not the end. It is an invitation to slow down, to notice, to reconnect. And if you respond correctly, your dog can come back to himself. The first mistake people make is trying to fix silence with excitement. Extra toys, extra commands, force play. But silence doesn't come from boredom alone. It comes from overload, discomfort, or confusion. So the first step is not action. It's observation. Watch your dog without asking anything from him. Not to sit, not to come, not to perform. Just watch. How does he move when he thinks no one is looking? How does he lie down? How often does he shift his position? These details tell you more than any bark ever could. A dog in discomfort adjusts often. A dog in stress freezes longer. A dog in emotional shutdown stays alert but inactive. Each one needs a different response. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable but essential. Your energy matters more than your actions. Dogs read nervous systems, not words. If you're anxious, they feel it. If you're guilty, they feel it. If you are impatient, they feel it. So before helping your dog, you have to regulate yourself. Sit near him. Breathe slower. Move gently. Not dramatically calm. Authentically calm. Because calm cannot be performed. It must be real. One of the most powerful things you can do for a quiet dog is simply share space without pressure. No commands. No eye contact at first. No expectations. Just presence. Dogs heal in proximity. When your dog feels you are safe again, emotionally predictable, his nervous system starts to soften. This is how trust rebuilds. Now, let's talk about touch, because touch can heal or harm. Do not suddenly hug, grab, or restrain a quiet dog. Silence often means sensitivity is heightened. Instead, sit beside him. Let him initiate contact. Offer slow, gentle strokes on the chest or side. If he moves away, respect it. Respect builds safety. Safety brings sound back. If stomach discomfort is suspected, routine becomes medicine. Same feeding time, same walk time, same sleeping environment. Predictability tells the body, you're safe now. Digestive systems and nervous systems are connected. When one calms, the other follows. You may notice small changes first. A deeper sigh, a stretch, a slightly quicker response. These are not small victories. They are signs of return. Now comes an important boundary. Do not ignore silence longer than a few days without improvement. If your dog remains quiet, withdrawn, or unusually inactive for more than 48 to 72 hours, especially with changes in appetite or posture, this is no longer wait and see. This is listen and act. A vet visit is not overreacting. It's respecting communication. Dogs don't exaggerate. If silence persists, something needs checking. But let's be clear, going to the vet is not just about tests. It's about ruling things out. Once pain is ruled out, you can focus on emotional repair without fear. And that alone reduces stress for both of you. Now, let's talk about rebuilding engagement gently. Do not demand play. Invite it. Sit on the floor. Roll a toy softly. Stop. Let your dog decide. Choice restores confidence. Every time your dog chooses interaction, even briefly, his brain releases safety signals. That's how personality returns. Voice matters too. Quiet dogs don't need louder voices. They need warmer ones. Lower tone. Zlower pace. Say his name once, not repeatedly. Repeated calling teaches him that silence is ignored and noise is required. One call, then wait. Waiting shows respect.